we talk about a lot of the stars in the Shore Conference. Let's talk about some of the more unsung guys. Their teams may be getting a ton of ink and think, the big time names on their squads are getting, a lot of attention, but they're doing some important work for some winning teams. Give me a couple candidates for that.
Scott, real quick, when I was the head football coach, I thought the Unsung Award was something just as valuable as the MVP. Guys that don't get the recognition that us coaches, when we're in our coaches meeting, are bragging about, but maybe the media's not giving them the respect out there and all that, because you need a lot of these players to get their due, and the Unsung is somebody that deserves recognition. And we're going to start with Danny Calicari from from Raritan. Danny does it all. I know Kieran Falzone is their workhorse guy, but Danny, he's a kid that got hurt last year. He's a safety. He had an interception for 100 yards for a touchdown. He has two kick returns for touchdowns. Jet sweeps, he scores for touchdown. When you're at the games, we always would joke saying there's going to be one or two plays that he's going to make a big play, but it'll be two plays for this, and then you wouldn't read anything else. But if you go to the game, he's all over the field. He's directing the defensive backs. I think Danny Calicari is a guy that is an all-short player that doesn't get as much ink as he should.
Yeah, I think a lot of times with these utility players, they don't have enormous stats in one specific area.
Yeah.
But then if you add up what they've done in total, it's impressive, and again, they also kind of like a glue guy on top of it, like a captain and a senior and things like that. He certainly fits that bill.
How about Connor Ciliento? Same mold as Dan Calicari. And we would always talk about he is still averaging 14 yards a carry.
He's the guy that is the definition of making the most of your opportunities.
Oh my
when he does touch the ball, he's going to make a big play.
At the Willingboro game, they yelled out, "We need a touchdown and a kick return." What does he do? Scores a touchdown and a kick return. I couldn't believe it. It's incredible. I should have listened to him and filmed it the whole time. But again, his jet sweeps, his kick returns, he's probably their MVP at Point Borough, but doesn't get the recognition in the media. He probably will be the MVP on their, when they have their team banquet. But Connor and Dan, both of them are huge utility players that are high demand to make the all-short teams. And I'm talking like first team. They're great football players, great kids. Everybody speaks volumes about them. They're unsung, without a doubt. There's another one. Is the kid from Marlboro, Ryan Mendez, the wide receiver, outside linebacker. I mean, a specimen, a real big, good-looking wide receiver. And then his quarterback gets hurt. And we were saying back and forth, I bet you they'll put Mendez at quarterback. I'll bet you they'll put Mendez at running back when Cassie got hurt. But they didn't. But he still had a great season and elevated their program to where they went to. And he's going to be a great college football player, because when he's exposed with his talent and they're getting him the football, he'll be a 30-catch wide receiver for 475 yards and be a great team locker room guy. Ryan Mendez is, without a doubt, a huge unsung.
And I think he was. I mean, first of all, he made huge plays. He was involved in that halfback pass, right, against Washington Township. That shot them. That was a huge play. But I think also he was just huge as far as the glue, as far as keeping that locker room together when they had to weather some really tough injuries.
Correct.
And when the world was against them, okay, the Marlboro story is over. They had their nice start. But no, they kept winning big games, and you only do that when you have guys like him that are making plays all over the field and that refuse to let the team think that just because this guy's out or that guy's out, we can't do this. When you can look to a guy who clearly believes, and is out there making plays against good teams, that gets everybody galvanized. And I think he was, when you look at the huge turnaround season they've had, he's a crucial part of it.
Here's one for you. Talk about being a locker room leader, leader on the line, plays both sides of the football. And let me add, he's playing in this Group 5 state championship. The kid moved from guard to center. His name's Josh Kay. He's a senior. Josh Kay is, without a doubt, an unsung guy. Guys don't Jalen Matthews, people talk about, the kid who's 6'7", 305. Josh Kay is the leader that moved from guard to center and everything's working right now. I've seen him talking to all those linemen and the players, and he's a leader on the football field. He touches the football more than Micah Ford because he's snapping it to him. So give him some credit that he's an excellent football player.
And not only that, you have that program that's loaded with FBS caliber talent, but you need those program guys to like go out and do their jobs. And another thing is they operate out of the shotgun. And I haven't seen him throw a bad snap like the whole year.
Knock on wood.
Even in bad weather. Yes, knock on wood before the state championship game. But those are the kind of absolute program players that you need. And those are the ones that make picking the all-short team every year very interesting, right? Because you have players who are getting recruited at a really high level. They're 6'5", they're 300.
Correct.
Then you have the guys that are 6 foot, 220.
220.
They're not going to be major college prospect, or there might be Division II players or whatever. But like they're not the all-world players. But on film, they had the best season of anybody, even the other big name guys. I think that's always like I remember back to even thinking, Kenny Pickett, right, when he was at Ocean, now the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback.
Yep.
He was making incredible throws. He was amazing, but his numbers did not stack up close to the other kids who were playing that year. So I don't even know if he got third team all short, even though he was talent-wise the best quarterback. So Josh K is one of those guys where, there might be a center is getting recruited on a higher level than him or some other kid out there. But when you're talking about results, the guy who went out and did it every game, he's one of those guys.
Well, I remember when Coach Oz talked to him about, I want you to make the move. He was a little reluctant at first because that's not his position. And you're trying to make a kid feel comfortable with being uncomfortable. He made the switch, and the rest is history. They're 13-0 and one of the best football teams ever. So Josh K deserves some recognition with that. How about Cooper Bennell? When you talk about a kid who plays both ways, he's got one-digit number, and he's a tough guy. He's a lineman, a D lineman, plays fullback. He's also a tough guy there, too. Cooper Bennell is one of the heart and soul players of the football program at Rumson, where a lot of people don't know about it, but when Old Shore comes around, you're going to know about his name. He's a tough, aggressive football player. He's a throwback football player, and you're going to see a lot of him in 2 weeks playing for the Group 2 state championship, which I know that he's going to do well in that game.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a compliment if you're a two-way player at Rumson in general, because they're such a two-platoon team, and they have such depth and talent most years that the coaches think highly of you if they want you on the field for as many snaps as you can be out there. And, that's a team that got better and better. That offensive line at the beginning of the year, I felt like they struggled a little bit just because they were all new. It was an entirely new line, and now they're out here putting 42 points on teams in the group semifinals. That shows how far they came. And defensively, going out and shutting people down to some degree out there, or just coming up with huge clutch stops. I mean, that's the thing with Rumson. It might not always be the prettiest or the stats don't look amazing, but they get the job done. They go out and get the job done. And they have a lot of guys on that team that, I mean, I always just think of Scott Venancio, right? Who thinks like, you think I'm too small, you think I'm not good enough. I'm going to go out here and score 3 touchdowns on you, and then I'm going to let you hear about it when it's over.
How weird.
Like, guys like that, that kind of, they typify Rumson, that people stereotype us as a certain type of player or something, and we're going to prove you wrong every time. I think that he's another one of those guys.
Yeah. So we're going to be looking at him. Then there's one more at Red Bank Catholic. You have Davin Bruton at the Mike linebacker. Well, there's an outside linebacker by the name of Mike Palmieri that a lot of people may not know of. He has 73 tackles, 7 hits behind the line of scrimmage, and I had him rated as one of the top outside linebackers in the class in 2023 that the average person going to a game doesn't know about him, but they're going to know about him when we do all short teams. He'll definitely be in the mix in 1, 2, or 3 teams we're there. You take him out of the equation. Now Davin Bruton's got to adjust not having his senior leader on the outside perimeter. So I think Mike Palmieri is one of those guys on a star-studded football team that's not getting his name out there enough, but we didn't forget about you, Mike. We definitely didn't forget about you. And definitely good luck against DePaul in the non-public B state championship. Well, Scott, I really believe the unsung is just as important as the MVP. And, those guys will definitely.
And who knows? What these guys have one last chance to be in the spotlight, right? You know, you never know which one of them might come up with a huge play here at the end of this week or in 2 weeks for the group final. So, we may maybe some foreshadowing. We may be naming these names, and then they'll go out and make a huge play with a state championship on the